Hi guys, the Metal Maniac back again, and welcome to another music collection update. So let's just get right into it. So first up is the EP Death Metal by Minotaur. Although oddly enough, Minotaur is not a death metal band; they're a thrash metal band. Although in terms of vocal wise, they did come close a couple of times with a few of their releases, including this one. But maybe not this one. There's one other one that I can't remember the name of. But anyway, this is an original release from 1990. Now there are actually two different versions of this. There's this one, the original from 1990, and then a re-release from 2002, which actually had bonus tracks and the cover art was the same, but the colors were actually inverted. The other one, see this one, it's the white backdrop, the logo up here in black, and then the black banner. But the 2002 version, even though the artwork is technically the same artwork, for some reason, every color here is reversed. Like there's in the other version, there's a black background. I believe, if I remember correctly, this top black bar was actually white, and then the skull was also black instead of white with black, just black sort of like detail, and the eyes were not black; they were white. I don't know why they completely inverted the color palette of that re-release, but anyway. But yeah, that one's the more common one. Again, this one, the original's slightly harder to find, not too hard to find, but you do have to look a little bit more to find this one. But anyway, but yeah, this the pretty underrated German thrash band. I'd say probably the only release that's widely known by them is their first full length album. I can't remember what it was called, but I believe it was released in '86, '86 or '87. But yeah. This is actually probably one of, if not my most favorite release by them. It's either this or their first demo. But yeah. All right. Next up is a re-release of the Satanist demo "Ripping Evil." This is the first vinyl re-release. Of course, you have the original one, the original cassette from '88, and I believe this one was '83 or '84. Not '83 or '84, '93 or '94. Yeah, there's three different versions of this. The original 1988 cassette, the first re-release vinyl. That's again '93. I think it's '93 or '94. And then there was another vinyl re-release that was a more recent one. I think it came out a few years ago. That was a 12-inch vinyl. This is a 7-inch vinyl. Although with both re-releases, I'm kind of upset that they didn't keep the original artwork from the original cassette version, which is a shame. I don't know if they didn't get permission. I don't know if they had to get permission from the original artist, but they didn't, or they couldn't contact that person. I'm not sure what happened there. But if they ever do re-release this demo again, I really hope they bring back the original artwork, because it's just, I know, it's one of my favorite artworks from a demo. But yeah, this is a 7-inch vinyl. Although this is the first 7-inch vinyl I have that actually has the bigger hole in the middle. So I'm gonna have to get the vinyl, the 7-inch vinyl adapter. You know, the round piece that you put on top of the vinyl. This kind of vinyl, so it doesn't slide around your record player when you're trying to play it. But yeah, this, thankfully though, the one thing I do really like, now I haven't got a chance to actually listen to it, this version. So I don't know how it sounds compared to the original. But unlike the original, this does actually come with lyrics, thankfully. This really cool fold-out lyric sheet. Um, But oh, yeah, this smells like very old paper. That very distinct, like just old paper smell, which um, yeah, it's always sort of like a, I don't know. To me, it's kind of nostalgic because I don't know. I love reading books, and anytime I get like a very old book or a book that I've had for years and then reread it, like that old paper smell. Not rotted paper smell, but like just that slightly aged paper smell. I don't know if I'm rambling, and I don't know if anyone can really if anyone really knows what I'm talking about. But anyway, but yeah, there's that. Also, one thing to add is that the second re-release is actually single-sided, but this is two-sided, so there's songs on both sides. Anyway, next up is the compilation album. Hold on, the title isn't on the front. Hold on. Forged in Blood and Still in the Gray Dying, by the death metal band Sinoth. Uh, Oddly enough, this is their only release that's available on vinyl. Everything else is on CD only. Is pretty much just CD only, or I think one of them does have an other option, but it's just a digital download. But yeah, this is the only release that's on vinyl. This of course contains their first two demos. Of course, Forged in Blood, excuse me, from 1991, and Still in the Gray Dying from 1993. But it also has four live tracks, which are from I think their very first live show. But yeah, they're really cool. Old school death metal band, but they do incorporate synth. Can't never say that word right. Synthesized keyboards. There we go. And usually I don't like that, but it's done very, very well. It brings this very cool, eerie, just evil atmosphere to their music. Yeah, they're one of the very few bands, especially one of the very few like death metal bands or extreme metal bands that actually do that right. Like I feel like a lot of bands that add it, especially in the realm of symphonic metal, which I don't really like. I think they overuse the synths on that specific genre. But when it's like just a death metal band or black metal band that just incorporate it into their sound, but don't make it the look, we have this kind of thing. This is going to be the the major part of our sound kind of thing. When it's just incorporated, casually, just sort of like enhancing the actual overall sound instead of being front and center. That's what I like. Now it's not my preferred thing. I don't like the keyboards and everything and the synths on everything. I just once in a while I'll find a band that does it well. And Sinoth does that very, very well. But yeah. And then last but certainly not least, this was really cool. I was really glad I was able to find one of these. And that is a very old Death demo. And that is, or they call it a demo, but it's really technically a live album. Well, they call it a live demo, but I don't know if that's actually like a legitimate term. I don't know if that's like a legit term, but it's a Death Live 1984. Well, technically, even though it was released by the band Death, it's actually a Mantis recording. So back when Chuck was still in the band Mantis, before he reformed it into Death, they recorded two live shows. They of course played a lot more, but there were two live shows recorded, or maybe three, technically speaking. I don't know if that other live show, that one of the early ones, was ever fully recorded, but I know at least two were. And this is the second live show that was recorded. Actually, it was a month after their very first not only very first recorded live show, but also their very first live show in general, like the first time they actually played live. Yeah, this is a month after the first one was September. This is October. Even though it was recorded during the Mantis era, this didn't get released until they reformed as Death. But it still has the Mantis lineup of Chuck Schuldiner, Rick Rozz, and Kam Lee. Now, there are a really cool mix of different songs on here. There's songs that appeared on the Mantis demos. There's a song that appeared on the Death version of the Death by Metal demo. There's, songs that were previously only live, available in terms of live recordings. You get, Mantis, the song Mantis, Summoned to Die, which would later be on the Back from the Dead demo, not album. The Unholy, Beyond the Unholy Grave, which did eventually finally end up on Scream Bloody Gore, but years later during one of the re-releases. Reign of Terror, Power of Darkness. You get a Venom cover, the song Poison, which is kind of an odd track to cover. I don't know. I don't think that was more of their more popular songs, but I guess it was one of their favorites. The song Corpse Grinder, which would later be re-recorded and be heard on the first Massacre album. And then, of course, Legion of Doom, Zombie, Witch of Hell, Slaughterhouse, and Death by Metal. And then this is just the standard black, white shelled, sort of with a black sort of like center thing. It's just a standard recording cassette. Yeah, really cool. Really happy I was able to actually track one of these down. Yeah. Also, this is not single-sided. Or initially, I thought this was a single-sided cassette, but most of the tracks are on side A, except for the last two, which are on side B. Hold on. There we go. The tape was kind of unwound. But anyway, also as a side note, there is no indication of what side A and what side B. So I kind of had to, luckily I actually did first put it on side A in my first try, but I'm probably gonna eventually just actually take like a Sharpie and just write side A and side B on each side, just so I could, remember without having to, just completely guess. But yeah. Alright, so that's about it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.